This is Chris Kell with another key consideration that I make when I'm programming for women. Alright, now for the most part we find that women are extremely flexible, much more so than men. Generally men are going to have a flexibility issue when they come in. You know, every area of their body is tight, we don't know where to begin. With women it's very, very specific. You know, in my experience I find that the only real areas that are tight are those that are caused by what we call adaptive changes due to lifestyle. So we have situations where, you know, women are wearing heels, so their pelvis tilts back into what we call hip flexion. All right, they're left with this like anterior pelvic tilt where pelvis is tilted back, stomach is tilted forward. We get this impression of a larger gut. All right. By the same token, you know, we get a situation where women will sit, you know, sit down, cross their legs, female style here, and we find an excess of what we call internal rotation. All right, so we have a lack of, you know, what we call hip external rotation, and we find that the muscles of the side of the thighs here are going to become, you know, weak and sort of flaccid and that sort of thing. So what we want to do in this case is to restore mobility to these key areas in order to be able to strengthen effectively. The other thing we have to consider is oftentimes when the body feels it's under threat, when muscles tighten in response to stress. So we want to do this through what we call active mobilizations. All right, meaning I'm doing exercises like leg swings and you know, raising my arms over my head, where I'm just moving through the full range of motion versus just holding in a stretch. Generally, those type of motions are the ones that are going to tell the nervous system to take the brakes off and allow our muscles to gain a better range of motion actively. All right, and with that, we're going to begin with just a couple tests that will show me kind of where I'm tight or not. All right, so look at this. We've just got a couple areas that often become tight with, you know, females in particular. The first would be hip flexion. All right, what I want to do here, all right, is just I'm doing what is called a seated hip flexion assessment. I want to raise my knee up as high as I can and stay tall. Oftentimes, if you find that as you're raising up, you start to lean forward or substitute, you feel tightness in the front of your thigh, you're not able to raise your knee above your waist without leaning forward or your body doing something funky, that tells us that, once again, we have, you know, restriction issues here. Right? We want to compare it side to side. So think about getting as tall as possible, raising up. You know, and again, if you find that you have more range of motion in one side versus the other, you know, that's going to be a problem. All right, the other thing that we want to test is what we call hip internal external rotation. All right, so with this, I'm internally rotating, or I'm externally rotating my leg here. All right, I'm looking for about 45 degrees of external rotation here. So we're looking about maybe here for somebody that is normal. All right, I'm within 10 degrees with that, so I'm okay. All right, but if you find that you can only do this, you know, you're down here, you know, then there's a major problem. We know that, you know, this is going to be something that we need to work on. All right, now on the same, I'm going to test it side to side. All right, do I have as much external rotation on the other side? It would appear I do not. All right, that's definitely a problem because asymmetry from side to side tells us we might be dealing with, you know, something a bit more insidious. So the last thing that we're going to do is test our upper body. All right, this is just called, this is a flexion test, and all I want to do is sit down. Can I get my arms all the way above my head without shrugging my shoulders? All right, if I can't, if I find that I'm here, all right, that tells me that my lats, okay, the muscles to the side here are tight, possibly my chest as well. Those are both areas that are connected down to the pelvis, all right, so they can have implications on, you know, our ability to strengthen our abs and, you know, sort of our position, whether we're in this desk posture or not. All right, so with all that mumbo jumbo out of the way, really all you're going to need to kind of internalize here are these simple mobility drills that you can do before your core training session to really get as much bang for your buck as possible and free up these areas. All right, so for our first exercise, what I'm going to do is put my back foot up on a step here. All right, I'm holding just a pole. You can use a broomstick or really anything, but I'm in this half kneeling position here. What I'm going to do is stretch out my hip flexors, the front of my hips here. All right, at the same time, I'm taking a stick and pressing into the ground. All right, with all of these exercises, I want you to think about tightening your abs and really keeping your abs on the whole time. This is going to allow our nervous system to kind of take the brakes off. It's going to tell our body that it's okay to move through this full range of motion. All right, so I'm keeping my abs tight here. I'm tightening the butt cheek of the back leg. I'm just leaning forward until I feel a good stretch here in this front leg. All right, I'm thinking about staying tall, just leaning forward till I feel that stretch, pausing for 1 to 2 seconds, and bringing it back. Once again, I'm pressing down into the ground as hard as I can. I'm going to perform 10 on that side. I'm just going to switch sides, do the same thing here. All right, now from here, we're going to move into a position called a pigeon pose. All right, something that I stole from yoga and people much smarter than myself. So I'm going to cross my front foot in front here. All right, I'm pressing into my foot, really tightening my abs up. Okay, what I'm going to do is just twist in. Okay, in towards my my kneecap here. Okay, just twisting in and out. All right, I'm moving through the 4-inch of motion. I'm moving into external rotation, holding for 2 to 3 seconds, and I'm coming back. All right, you can do anywhere from 10 to 20 reps of each of these drills. This is a great warm-up. You can also really do this throughout the day to really improve your range of motion and to improve definition ultimately. Do this before a workout to really help our bodies to, to strengthen, through a better range of motion. All right, now, so I've hit the 2 key areas in my lower body. All right, now I'm going to move to my upper body. So for my first exercise, I have what's called a rocking prayer pose. All right, and this rocks. So what I'm going to do here, my hands into fists, press into the ground, and I'm just rocking side to side here. All right, you might feel tightness in one side versus the other. What I'm trying to do is just bring my heels to my butt, just mobilize. At the same time, I'm just thinking about breathing deep. Once again, I'm looking for anywhere from 10 to 20 reps to each side. Okay, now for my last exercise, all right, I'm going to do what is called a floor slide. All right, so I'm pressing my back into the ground, trying to press my hands into the ground as well. Just sliding up, keeping my abs tight, pressing into the ground with my abs, and just breathing normally. Taking a deep breath at the top, through my nose, hold, come back, and just try to fill my belly with air. And again, I'm just performing anywhere from 10 to 20 reps, and releasing. Perform these exercises as a circuit. Really, one set is all you're going to need before exercise or just throughout the day to loosen things up. Doing this over time will really improve the posture, help you to gain significant muscle definition, and just help you to feel better during the day.